Hello there, my friends. This is Sandy, and this video is going to walk us through my gathering together 4-page workshop. Some supplies you'll need, obviously lots of adhesive, scissors, a ruler because we're going to do some lines, some markers. I used Cajun Craze and Early Espresso, and some inks. I used Cajun Craze, Old Olive, and Early Espresso. So the big part of this I pulled a bunch of different things together. So the Gathering Together Designer Series paper. I also added in some of the woven textures paper. I used the 2 stamp sets that came with the month by month album retreat. Here's what those ones look like. And if you don't have them, come on over and use mine. Or you can really improvise with the sentiments. It really doesn't make a difference. Um, just depends on what you want to say. So I've got the woven leaves are part of your kit. I threw some of those in, the earth tone gems, these foiled frames and labels, and a whole bunch of cardstock. So let's work through. The first thing I want you to do is take these 2 pieces of cardstock, the Cajun Craze cardstock, spray them down with some water, and crinkle them into a ball. So there's my 2 wet, wadded up balls of paper. Now you're going to flatten it back out, but you want to keep a bunch of the wrinkles. You just want to kind of stretch the paper out enough so that it gets to the length that you want it to be. It's not going to go all the way back to an 11-inch piece of paper, but it'll get down, it'll kind of fold back out to maybe 10 3/4. But again, you want to keep all those fun little crinkles. And if you find a spot like, I think I need more crinkles here. So I'm just going to give it another fold and open it back up again. So we're going to let it dry. And once these 2 pieces of paper dry, then I used an ink pad. I used the Early Espresso ink pad and ran that across the surface of the paper. And then the ink pad, don't push hard, be very light with it. It'll just touch the bumps that are up to give you that beautiful texture. So you're going to do that on both of those. Next, grab this piece of paper here, and you're going to attach the larger tag-shaped frame is going to go on here, and the kind of rectangular one. So attach both of those and cut those out of there. Then kind of lift your 2 12 by 12s and down in here, too far. You need this piece of paper, and with this one, you're going to attach this and this and cut those out. You may want to use like a glue pen or something to really make sure you get that to stick really well. But get those 2 things done. And with the bigger ones, what I did, and I should have done it on this one too, is if you tape it close to 2 of the edges, then that's less cutting for you to do. If I was smart, really, I would have put that right along the edge, but go ahead and get all 4 of those cut out. All right, so we've got our 4 tags created. You can set those aside for now. You can take all of your woven leaves and your embellishments and set those aside. This sheet of paper, I just want you to set aside for now as well. All right, so we're going to get this layout assembled. So 1, 2, 3, 4 2.5-inch by 11-inch strips. You're going to want to go a 1/2 inch up and a 1/2 inch in on the 2 outer pieces and line up those middle 2. Get that done for both of these pages, in whatever order you want them to be, or you can copy mine just the way it is. Next, what we're going to do is add those photo wells. So we've got a 4 by 6 well. So this piece is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And then a 4 by 4 well. So this piece is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then a 3¼ by 3¼ is going to line up down here with the bottom of this picture. So that gives us our photo wells. Now, to do this tag, what I would recommend is if you're going to do the journal lines, pardon me, if you're going to do the journal lines, line your tag up on your glass mat and use a ruler, and you can keep your lines straight because you've got the lines on here, and start at the bottom, maybe go up 3/4 of an inch and do 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch, whatever makes you happy. Get your journal lines on there before you tape it down. I'm not going to go through the process of doing that for the sake of the video, but that's how that was done, is just with a ruler. So I'm going to offset this, and I want it to hang down into kind of this open space here. The corner is overlapping that photo. I'm just going to put a little extra tape right down in here. So rather than going through the process of cutting all these out, what I did was I cut out leaves and mushrooms from this piece of paper right here. So I would say go ahead and use all the mushrooms, and you kind of have to pick and choose. Like when the leaves overlap, it's hard to get really good in between there. So, sometimes you have to sacrifice a leaf, and that's okay. You can leave a little bit of a white border if you want. Like up here, that one has a little bit of a white border. This one, I didn't leave much of a white border because it was really close to a yellow flower or yellow leaf right here. Okay, and we got some of these just kind of strewn about. The highlights and the little flower and all these little starbursts come from that month by month stamp set. And then I took some glue dots and just created cones with the leaves. And the glue dot is stuck now behind here, attached to that to keep my leaf. So 1, 2, 3 of those leaves on this page. And then I used the brown and white gems to finish that layout. Then on this side, let me pull that one over. So with this one, we're going to use that long piece of paper to hold, a 4x6 and a 3x, however you end up doing it. There's room for 2 to 6 pictures, depending on how you cut them. And then we'll put a 4x4 over here. Our Autumn Days frame is going to slightly overlap the picture right here. And then we've got another, I need to grab another roll of tape to finish that up. So here's our other cluster of leaves, mushrooms, all sorts of mushrooms and leaves. And then don't forget all your starbursts. I used the Autumn Days from that stamp set. And then if you look real close, I used the Cajun Craze up here and the Early Espresso down here, and just did teeny tiny little dots next to the Y and the A. And then down here along the bottom of both pages along the brown, down here and here, I did little dots with a Cajun Craze pen, and along the top, I did dashes with the Early Espresso. So that is our first set of 2-page layouts from this Gathering Together kit. Let's move on to our next. Okay, so with this set of pages, we're going to start with our 3x6 pieces. Don't you just love the gold embellishing in all this paper? Then this piece, I'm doing it so that these are looks kind of like grass growing up. Then we've got our leaves, and this is a random design, so it doesn't matter which way is faced up. Next, we're going to place our photo well. And this is going about 3/4 up on the green, and you want it evenly spaced left and right with our 3x4, one of the 3x4s, just slightly overlapping that. And I'm showing a little bit of the silver on this and green on this side too. So right about there. Then let me bring this up close so we can see we've got our circle here that's going to swoop down just a little bit. The stamping was all done with that stamp set. Um, Cut out all your leaves. We've got, again, one of those cones tucked under there. These ones are all done with the cream color in green. That's the bling that we used on these. We'll bring this up close so you can see. I did the splashes and the hearts were all from that Album Retreat stamp set. So I use splashes and hearts all around the place. Then when we switch over to this page, the basic layout is the same. We're going to add our photo mats. So we've got a 4x6 well that's going to go kind of down in this area. Then we're going to put our 4x4 well over and up from that. I want a little bit of green showing on this side. Then I'm going to take the 3x4 and slightly overlap the 4x4 with that. So that gives us the foundation for this page. Again, if you're going to do the lines, do them before you go ahead and add the rest of, before you attach it. But we've got fun little things that I've stamped and kind of thrown in there. Again, overlapping. Let me bring this up close so you can see all the fun. So again, that splash stamp, the hearts, the little hearts, and all the cutouts from that one piece of paper. So there's that final page. That's the 4-page gathering together that I did, all featuring that gathering together designer series paper. And whatever stamp set you have on hand, unless you come over and then you can use all my tools. Thanks for watching, guys. I'd love to hear what you think about this paper and the design I created.